art. We're going to make a mirror out of this old cab. Basically, we're going to cut the back off, keep this nice edge up here, and then we're going to put a mirror in there and etch Rusty Revivals, which is the name of our YouTube channel, right on that mirror. And then we figured we'd put a couple pictures and some headlight bezels in there. So it's going to look real nice for my office wall. But the way we're doing this is we're going to cut out right along here at this edge. And we're using this cutter. It's basically got 3 teeth. You'll be able to see it in the camera here. It just moves back and forth, makes a real nice cut, and then it just takes out the center and peels it right around like you can see right here. As you're cutting, it's just peeling that center right out, and it gives you a nice 1/4 inch cut. And it's very easy to control. And what we're going to do is, where we've got our tape line here, we're just going to cut right up and over the cab, and it'll fit right real nice to the wall. And so we're going to show you how this cutter works here in just a second. Okay, what we're doing tonight is dressing this bottom edge on this cab back. Obviously it's just thin metal and it could be real sharp. So we want to make a nice round edge on the bottom. So what we're doing is taking electrical conduit, we cut it in half, and we're welding it to the bottom to give it a nice round edge. And we'll show you how we're doing that in just a second here. So here's that bottom edge, good view of it. It's all great when it's all straight, real easy to do when you got a pipe. However, you get to this end and you got a nice little curve. And the tricky part is, how do you get a piece of pipe that's straight to bend around the corner? Well, it's pretty easy, actually. And I do this, it's just basically relief cuts. And I do this when I'm doing my carpenter work. If I want to make an arch top door or window, you just cut the back side with relief cuts and then you can bend the wood right around the corner. So we're doing basically the same thing with this pipe. First thing we did is chop the pipe in half. You can kind of visualize this as a 90-degree. That'll give us a nice rounded bottom on this piece of sheet metal. So we made the relief cuts a little over halfway through the pipe. And I did that with just an air grinder and a cutoff wheel. And then as you start to bend it, you'll notice that the crack at the top is open, but then it gets tight at the bottom. Because what's happening is, as you bend, it just squeezes together at the bottom edge. It's not going anywhere at the top, obviously, but it just squeezes together at the bottom edge. Now, some of the places the curve is real shallow, but then as you get a little further down, it gets a little harder bend to match the profile that we have here. So all you have to do there is, I just kept where I needed to go harder. Like right here, you can see actually it's a triangular shaped piece that's left. I just kept sticking that grinder wheel in there and taking more out until I got what I needed to make the bend. So now all you need to do is weld this onto the bottom. And you can see it kind of matches that profile pretty well. I gotta just tack it in place and hold it, and then it comes out to be like this. It's just like the cooking shows, man. We've got one side already done, you know, voila, there it is. But as you can see, I've already welded in all these relief cuts here. Now, it doesn't look that great right now, obviously, because we're not too worried about it. We're going to take body filler and make this all look nice. But you can see it kind of shows you the profile that I'm after. Makes a nice round bottom, and then we'll just put some sheet metal right in here where it goes up against the wall. And this will be the bottom. If you get down underneath, you'll be able to see it, but that's what it'll look like. All right, we got it tack welded in. Now we're just welding in all of these relief cuts. So here we go. As you can see, we're doing just spot welds because this stuff, this conduit is pretty thin stuff. And you can't really go too hard or you're just gonna burn right through it. So it's just time consuming, tedious, but it has to be done.
All right, we've got the bottom manufactured. And I have to apologize, sometimes I forget to videotape some of this stuff. What I did is I went over to a friend of mine, he's got a brake, metal brake, and bent up this bottom piece. You can see there's got a little bit of a 90-degree bend. The metal that I had was only 4 feet long, so I had to make a joint and welded it all in there. You should be able to see some of the welds. You can see this is the back side, welded it all in. Inside, I put a brace in because obviously, you know, we wanted to keep this straight, the bottom. And that held it straight, otherwise there was a big crown in it. I'll flip the piece over here so you can see what the other side looks like. And as you can see, I started to do a little bit of the body filler. It's got that nice round edge profile. So now it's just a matter of doing some body work, getting it nice and straight, and then filling in around the window here. There's a little bit of corrosion that I found when I sandblasted. So now it's just body work. Keep on watching. Okay, here we are. We've got our completed sign that we were working on out of this back of a pickup truck cab. First thing you notice right away is that we didn't go with the engraved mirror, etched mirror. I tried using a sandblaster. I've done some etching before, but it just didn't turn out the way I wanted it. Just didn't look quite what I was looking for. So what we did is we went on the computer and developed this on some graphics design, my wife and I. And then we sent it to a printer who prints signs and plastic vinyl stickers to use as signage. It wasn't expensive, it was only like 30-40 bucks. And they printed it up and shipped it to us. And we just laminated that right onto the old window glass and put the window seal in, just like it was originally. And after a lot of body work, you can see this is where all that conduit was. And I made a nice round edge in there. Made it all come out. And up around in this area, there was a lot of dents. And it's kind of hard to see because of the lighting and everything, but they're spot welds. When they made these vehicles, they really didn't care if it was smooth or not. So I smoothed that all out, filled that all in, made it look good. But as you can see, it turned out pretty well. I put a LED light in behind so that it lights up with a switch right down here underneath. And you turn it on and off. It still looks okay when it's off. You can still read the rusty revivals, but obviously it looks a lot better when you have it on. I welded a couple mounts on the back side to mount a picture hanging cable. It's got to be a pretty heavy duty one because this thing weighs about, I'd say 50 to 80 pounds, somewhere in there. So whatever you mount it to the wall with has got to be pretty substantial. It's the heaviest picture you probably got in your house. So, but you can see it kind of goes in well with the decor of the office, and makes a little bit of a man cave. So, well, I guess that concludes it. Now you know what you can do with one of these old rusty backs of a old rusty cab. This is out of a 1966 Chevy C10. Thanks for watching, and remember, Jesus Christ loves you. He died for your sins. All you have to do is ask Him to save you. If you'd like more information, go to rustyrevivals.com. We'd love to talk about it and share with you how you can know for sure that when you die, you go to heaven. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Eric from Rusty Revivals.